AXIA Consulting, we get called by a lot of clients to help them with their ERP programs when they get stuck or behind or when they have a failed implementation. And what we've noticed is a dramatic increase in the number of ERP problem programs since the pandemic. And that led us to the question of why. What are we seeing different? So we peeled it apart and started to do a study. The first thing we saw was it didn't matter the system integrator the company was using. They could have been using a big four, big name integrator, or they could have been using a boutique firms. We saw problems across the board, which then led us to, okay, let's peel back the covers and look at the underlying issues that these companies are having and then boil them up into something that's actionable. And we found really three things that these problems fall into, three different buckets. The first is the program took more of a technical PMO focus, a technical program management focus. With the advent of cloud versus before it was on-prem, a lot of people talk about the cloud and how easy it is to implement, and they focus strictly on the technologies, ignoring all of the people, data, and other aspects that are required to be successful. Second then, and related to it, is the business was not ready to operate in this new ERP environment at go live. The jump when we move from old systems to new cloud systems may be larger than it was in the prior when we moved from old systems to an on-prem system because we could customize it more. And the business needs to understand all the components of their organization that needs to change. The data, the people, the processes, and maybe even underlying capabilities and skills that people may not have. These were not addressed early on, and the further along you get in the program or even at go live, it causes a big problem. So the business not being ready is the second one. And the third one was it actually has to start in the beginning with your contract with your systems integrator. We're looking at these contracts and they very clearly define what the system integrator will do and potentially some of the things they won't do. But the client didn't have a full understanding of everything that was required on their side and the support that they needed. So it's when you don't know what you don't know. And if you haven't done it before, you may not have the skills in-house necessary to do the work. But the contract clearly did state what the systems integrator would do, but that is not the complete scope of everything required. So what do you do about this? Well, first is to take the assumption that we probably do have a problem in our ERP program, even if it hasn't raised its head yet, because we're seeing it across the board. Now that if you address it, you first look at your scope. Is my program really covering the complete scope of people, process, and technology required? Next, now that I have my scope, do I have the right resources with the right skills accountable for the work? Because a lot of times things are defined, but there's not clear accountability in the organization. Then finally, do you have a really good reporting mechanism to show the executives, to show the business community where you truly are for the entire scope so that the business can take proactive mitigation steps prior to things getting bad? There's a tendency to think it's green, it's all good, until suddenly one day it's red. You need to know where you're having problems and be honest with your entire team about it so that you can take mitigative actions. ERP projects are not rainbow and unicorns. None of them are perfect. They all have issues and problems. The successful one, though, deals with those problems along the way so that they're ready at go live.